Hello, everyone. At the start of the season, after watching Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid play so impressively at the Club World Cup, I really expected them to have a fantastic year. And to be fair, early on they truly did look like that kind of team, winning almost every match, beating both big and small clubs with ease. But lately, things have gotten a bit disappointing. They suddenly drew 3 games in a row and lost the top spot in La Liga to a Barcelona side that isn't exactly stable either.
And most recently, they even lost to Celta Vigo. But okay, let's temporarily ignore that last match. Instead, let's break down the issues that Xabi Alonso and his players are dealing with right now. The first and most obvious change compared to earlier in the season is that Real have declined in their pressing ability. They're still using the same basic pressing structures as before, the familiar 4-4-2 or 4-1-4-1 shapes, focused on tight, almost man-to-man marking, cutting off passing options, and forcing opponents to play long balls so Real can contest them. But here's the key difference, and really the root of every pressing problem: the lack of synchronicity among the players.
Up top, the forwards push aggressively, pressing high and trying to trap the opponent near the touchline. But at the back, the defensive line is overly cautious, rarely stepping past the halfway line to protect space behind them. That creates huge gaps between the lines, perfect for opponents to exploit. As long as they escape the first wave of pressure, the amount of space they can play into is basically unlimited. In fact, many teams don't even bother trying to bait Real's press anymore. They just skip the build-up entirely, send long balls over the top, and with Real center backs not being particularly dominant in the air, opposition strikers can simply win the duel, lay the ball off into the acres of space in midfield, and launch a transition directly at Real's defense. Rayo Vallecano did this especially well.
You can really see how disconnected the team is. The distances between Real's lines are massive. Leave that much open space, and of course the opposition will immediately take advantage. And it's not just the structure. The individual pressing actions from Real's players have been poor too. Many pressing attempts look half-hearted, almost like players are just running for show, without positioning themselves effectively to block vertical passes. On top of that, even though Alonso demands aggressive man-oriented pressing, the players often lose concentration in their marking. That breaks the timing of the entire system and opens moments where the opponent suddenly has a numerical advantage and plays through Real's press with ease.
For example, in this situation, Girona's striker drops deep to receive the ball with zero pressure from behind because Militao is too slow to close him down. That alone allows Girona to bypass the pressure and immediately attack the wide open space behind. So the system isn't stable, and the individuals aren't executing it. And to make matters worse, the personnel Alonso is relying on aren't ideal for a high-intensity pressing scheme. Just look at the midfield duo he often uses, Arda Güler and Tchouaméni. The imbalance is obvious.
Güler is crucial for ball progression, no doubt. But defensively, he struggles, let's be honest. Which means Tchouaméni has to cover everything himself, and obviously no single player can plug every hole all the time. At some point, the gaps appear and Real concede. Take the goal against Girona, for example. Tchouaméni is forced to track 2 players at once in the center. A 1v2 is never favorable. He can only choose one, and the other gets a free shot. If that chance doesn't go in, you'd call it luck.
It's not like Alonso is unaware of these issues. He's tried different adjustments, pushing Güler to play as a number 10, pairing Camavinga with Tchouaméni, switching to a diamond shape, but none of these have truly solved the problem. He's stuck between 2 choices: sacrifice Güler's ball progression to strengthen the midfield defensively, or accept the defensive vulnerabilities and hope the attack compensates. And it seems he doesn't fully like either option, so things remain unresolved. This halfway approach isn't just in defense, it shows in attack too. They're playing in a system that requires high discipline, structured movements, and positional rigor, the core ideas of Alonso's philosophy. But the players still carry the habits of Ancelotti's free-flowing, improvisational football. The hope was that blending the two would create a supercharged hybrid, but instead it's become, well, neither one thing nor the other, and very messy.
Of course, with Mbappe in the squad, Real naturally lean their attack to the left side, where Mbappe, Vinicius, and Bellingham often combine. That left side overload is normal and not inherently wrong. But what's the purpose of an overload? Often, it's to switch play. However, their right-sided width now comes from Trent Alexander-Arnold or Federico Valverde instead of Rodrigo. Trent just got injured, but even when fit, neither he nor Valverde is a natural 1v1 winger, so isolating them on the right after an overload doesn't produce much. Many teams simply ignore that flank and shift their whole block left to shut down Real's main combinations.
If switching doesn't work, then go wide and cross, right? But Real lack a reliable target in the box. Mbappe is listed as a number 9, but his instincts of to roam, drift wide, and attack cutbacks. He's not a traditional box striker. Even if he tried to be one, it wouldn't suit his body type or skill set. The only true penalty box threat is Bellingham with his late runs, but he's a midfielder. He can't constantly act as the primary finisher.
So Real end up with beautiful crosses that find absolutely no one, wasting promising situations, and because they haven't fully absorbed Alonso's discipline, while simultaneously losing the spontaneity and creativity from the Ancelotti era, the attack becomes rigid and predictable. Too many attacking sequences are just sterile ball circulation from left to right with no movement to manipulate defenders or create space. It's what I often call static football. Here's an example. Bellingham drops deep, but no one moves to exploit the space he vacates. 10 seconds later, the whole shape looks exactly the same. Real keeps shuffling the ball around with no purpose. This is why they struggle so much against low blocks like Rayo or Girona, but look fantastic against teams that open up and press high, like Olympiacos in the Champions League or Athletic Bilbao recently.
But honestly, I think the tactical issues aren't even the biggest problem. The larger issue seems to be that the players are losing confidence in Alonso, and Alonso himself seems unsure about fully trusting his own philosophy. The result is a team that feels caught in the middle, not fully committed to anything, and not truly good at any one thing. That recent 3-0 win might have looked a little Ancelotti-esque, but that's exactly what Alonso needs right now, something to buy him time and rebuild confidence. Personally, I really like Xabi Alonso, both as a player and as a manager, so I hope he doesn't fall too deep into this rut and end up getting dismissed. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.